Hi, welcome everyone to the last VSG Oceanside chat of 2021. I'd like to thank all of you guys for taking the time to come and join us. And I'd also like to give a special thanks to Porter, our very special speaker today. A little bit about Porter. He's a mentor at various locations: Cleantech Open, Plug and Play, Verizon Ventures. He mentored for the U.S. National Lab of Entrepreneurship and UC Entrepreneurship Academy. That's a lot of mentorship that you put out there, Porter. He's also an associate at James Gollub Associates, and he does some consulting work for the U.S. Department of Commerce, for Minority Business Development Agency, for the San Jose Business Center, for the Technical Assistance Expansion Program for Small Businesses in the California Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. And you also held senior positions at startups that have IPO'd or have been acquired. You are a member of the Ontario Canada PV Caucus. How do you find the time in the year to do all of this? It's amazing.
I don't sleep.
Back before time, you were the chairman of IEE Society in Santa Clara Valley. So without further ado, after I just spent the whole 30 minutes giving you an idea of just what a generalist Porter is and what a great mentor he is, I'm going to pass it off to you, Porter. Tell us about yourself a little more if you'd like, and then I'd love to hear more about Cleantech Open and the CalTest.
Hi everyone. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Today, actually, I'm going to cover two topics, right? So one is CalSeed, the other one is CalTest bed. I have quite a bit of information, so I'm going to gauge the time and see, maybe certain area I'm just going to skip, just go through it very briefly and quickly, and some areas I going to get into get into a little bit more in-depth discussions. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so does everybody see my slides?
Looks great.
Okay, great. Okay, so CalSeed, right? I think CalSeed is actually one of the best kept secret if people doesn't know about it. Is one of the fantastic or wonderful avenue for startup, early stage startup, try to get non-diluted funding. So basically, for Cleantech startup, right, in California, you can get up to like $600,000 in total grant funding, right? And because it's grant, if you don't need to repay, and then also totally non-diluted, so you don't even lose any equity of your company. And because now is the end of year, so the cohort, so this year, actually 2021 is the 5th cohort, and of course it's closed. So next year you can have the I think next year they probably open around like the June time frame. Oh, sorry, I need to around the June time frame, or maybe August. So we need to kind of wait for the announcement when they're going to start accept application. So the Cleantech Open, the CalSeed is actually is a program of a co-developed by a number of partners, right? That including New Nexus, New Energy Nexus, Momentum, UC Davis.
Oh my God!
And Cleantech Open. So the program actually has, I would say actually like 3 phases I listed here. So first is the concept award. So startup will have a chance to get a grant of 150K, and then that's phase one. And then as you get into phase two, you'll be able to get like during the prototype stage, award stage, you can get up to like 450K, and then of course one of the benefits of the program is that you could have a chance to meet network with a lot of VC and also peers and also potential customer too. So this is the past awardees, right? So it covers actually a quite wide-ranging range of technologies, right? And it could be like battery, it could be something related to like power generation, or heating, cooling, HVAC, smart grid, EV chargers, and geothermal. So the range is actually pretty broad. And then in what stage of the technology, the development, right? The CalSeed will fund. So using the Department of Energy's definition is TRL2 to TRL4. TRL basically means technology readiness level. So if you are TRL2, it basically you have done some basic scientific research, and then start working on a prototype, but you don't have a prototype yet. And TRL3 is like basically you're working on your prototype, you're getting close to have a prototype, but you're doing like all kind of different experimentation on modeling and try to perfect your invention, and then come up with a actually working prototype, right? So TLR4, it basically, yeah, you ready to do some pilot run, right? So in case of the software development, it could be it could mean that your software is ready for alpha. And so again, we get into a little bit more about what type of technology that CalSeed is looking at. So again, like including energy efficiency, load modifying, energy storage, grid enhancement. Like in terms of grid enhancement, could be you have some IoT device, a sensor to monitor the grid performance, or could be something that detect the the grid voltage variations, that kind of thing. And renewable electricity, again, it could be like solar, it could be geothermal, it could be wind, and then all kinds of technology related to EV, could be charging station, could be a new way of put together EV, and something like that. And then this is like this list I just provide is for the 2021 cohort. So for the 2022, it may be the same, it may be a little bit different. But I think that in most cases it will be relatively the same, but sometimes they like from year to year they might have a little bit like different focus. So again, first phase, company can get up to 150K. Second phase, company can get to 450K. So basically, how it works is this: for a startup, you first need to apply. So basically, you go to the website, to submit your application, and then there will be there's a review committee and look at your application. If you pass the review committee, and they will formally invite you to submit a full application. So that's how it works. So even for the application phases, actually, there's two phases. And also the program itself and is highly encouraged project that can benefit underserved and low-income communities. It could be, let's say, the technology itself or project itself can, for example, right, let's say clean up the air of a heavily polluted community, or maybe like, doing like, water filtration, or maybe even, like, create, good economic impact that, help to create a lot of well-paying jobs in those communities. So we go back to the application process, right? So I mentioned that is you apply online, and then after review, you got invited to submit your application, and then typically after you submit your full application, in about like 3 months time, plus minus, company should be notified, should get the notification of whether you will receive the 150K grant or not. The open application period usually is about a month long. So application won't be reviewed until after the application period is closed. So let's say, for example, let's say in 2022 they start accept application in March, then by April they close the application period, and then by July or June or July timeframe, startup should receive a notification, whether they get the 150K funding or not. So it's actually relatively quick, right? So even you go out to raise a round of funding yourself, right, from seed angels or whatnot, it's probably going to take more than 3 months. So okay, so usually based on the past history, there's about maybe 150 or whatever, or 200 company will submit the application, and then from the application pool, usually between like 20 to 28 company will receive the 150K concept award. And then after the after the concept award winners are announced, for the company, right, who accepted the award, it's mandatory to attend the accelerator run by Cleantech Open. So this is like capacity, building stage in my slide. And Cleantech Open probably run one of the best Cleantech accelerator in the US, if not globally. It's a 3-month program, and I happen to be the mentor for Cleantech Open, and then also one of the company I advise do get the 150K award, and now they are actually is the finalist for the 450K second phase award. It's not announced yet. I don't know whether the company will get that, but at least, they are, they're the contender for the second phase of the grant. Now, for the Cleantech Open Accelerator, there's a lot of homework. It's very intensive. So you got, work assignment every week. And then at the same time, you're going to get a lot of, if you are one of the finalists, you're going to get a lot of, you're going to get press release, and you will be introduced to a number of VCs. And then, of course, like potential corporate customer also. So for the, actually, for the, based on the past statistics, right? So actually close to like 30%, close to 30% of the finalists, right? After they finish the Cleantech Open Accelerator program, are able to, close a round of, funding. It could be a seed round, could be, angel or early, Series A or something like that. Okay, so after the company, the 150K awardees gone through the Cleantech Open program, then actually there will be a another phase of business plan review by the technical advisory committee. So if they pass that, then they will get the 450K additional grant. Usually, so remember I said that there's about anywhere between the 20 to 28 startup will get the 150K, right? Now from that pool of startup, around maybe 6 or so will actually get the 450K. So if you're looking at the odds, it's actually pretty high, right? It's like 30% or even sometimes maybe even more. And so who can apply, right? So individuals or team, right? So sometimes even you are the sole entrepreneur, you don't have a team yet, you can still apply. And then of course, like if you already form a business entity, you have a team, you are like a C corporation or LLC, whatever, right? You can also apply. Also like nonprofit or other groups or institutions. The key thing is that the technology. First of all, the company needs to be based in California, and then the project needs to benefit California utility ratepayers. And also, you don't owe the state any tax, and also like if you already form a company, then the company itself, right, need to be in a good standing. And then I mentioned earlier before, right? So the company in terms of technology readiness level need to be 2, 3, or 4. And then yeah, so then also now so the second part of the presentation, I'm gonna cover like CalTest bed. So if you combine the CalSeed and CalTest bed program, you can actually get close to up to $1 million of benefit, non-diluted funding support from the state. And then again, like for the application requirement, it's only limited to startup that they have not raised more than $1 million yet. So it needs to be under $1 million. Or actually some companies, they haven't raised anything at all, just bootstrap. haven't received, any funding at all from, anyone. So for the evaluation process, right, importantly, again, it's innovation, right, is tied, of course, that tied to your technology, and then impact to the state, impact to the underserved or disadvantaged communities, and impact to the world. And then, of course, right, you need to demonstrate that, the team you have a good team, and then the team is ready to complete, to take the challenge and have a good possibility of success of what you try to do. So I think I can, skip the slide. Yeah, so then that's all I have, for CalSeed. So any questions?
I'll kick off a question. So, with applicants or applications, there are a lot of mistakes that people can make that they don't recognize because they're not part of the review panel or the evaluators. So are there any common mistakes that you see teams make when they apply, kind of like cautionary tale?
Okay, so one thing though, right? So it needs to be Cleantech related, right? It could, but it can be a lot of. Actually, the range is pretty wide in terms of like clean technology. But then sometimes some people they do the application, they may not have a technology related to clean tech, and then that's one. Also, so actually, as you apply, there's a lot of like guidelines and document provided by CalSeed. So I encourage the applicant basically study those guidelines carefully, and then you make sure that you hit all the key points and all the key requirements.
And then kind of like the reverse question, like what really helps an applicant stand out? What do evaluators like to see in those applications? Is it is it like a really standard application where you can't really stand out, or are there things that you can do?
No, actually you can stand out, right? So a lot of time, right? So first of all, right, I mean, just like everything else, right? Just like, when you talk to the VC, right? Do you have something that is truly disruptive, right? So for example, right? So the company I'm advising that also for this year, and then again, it is one of the finalists in contest to receive the second phase 450K grant. So what they have is basically is a technology that can cut down the solar cell manufacturing by 50%, the cost of manufacturing by 50%, energy usage reduced by 70%, and water usage reduction by 90%, right? So this is a perfect example, right? It has to be something that's different, right? So it's not like you do very little incremental change and then probably not going to cut it. Yeah.
Got it. Do we have any questions from the group about CalSeed before Porter moves on to CalTest bed? You can either just unmute yourself and ask or raise your hand. If you're really shy, you can put it in the chat and I'll ask it for you. Otherwise, I think you're free to move on, Porter.
Okay, all right. So now CalTest bed, right? So CalTest bed is basically helping startup to de-risk innovation, right? So it's a consortium of all the UC campuses, and it's chaired by the California Energy Commission, and also okay, so in addition to all the UC campus, also the Berkeley Lab, Lawrence Berkeley National Lab also provide the testing facilities to help out startups. So actually, for startup, you'll be able to get up to 300, sometime more than 300K worth of testing assistant, right? Could be using the facility, or having expert getting expert advice, right, from the researcher of all of all the participate institution. So again, it is for Cleantech, and again, the same thing like the CalSeed is because end of the year, so we cannot apply now, but the application will be open next year, and then you also apply online. So how it works, right? So it's only open for application once a year, and then so each application is of course reviewed by a a technical committee. So again, the focus is like in innovation, scalability, feasibility, and of course very important is market potential. So the applicant, right, will actually have a consultation with a principal investigator, and also a campus representative. If the testing facility you suitable for the technology is from UC, otherwise you could have a representative from the Berkeley lab. And then they will actually the expert, right? The team will help you to put together a statement of work. So it's basically is the scope of the project, the schedule, and the budget, and things like that. So again, the upper limit is around 300. Sometimes could be 350K. It could be a combination of technical advice, or maybe purely just using the testing facilities. So the California's CEC, the Energy Commission, will review and approve the proposed SOW. And then after that, right, the applicant, the recipient, right, will have will sign a contract, and then they can start scheduling, beginning working with the corresponding testing facility. I'm gonna skip this slide. So what's the benefit, right? Of course, right, the startup can have access to world-class equipment and technical expertise, and then you have a chance to network with experts in in the same technology area, and also the entire ecosystem that these campus can provide, right? And of course, right, potential to commercialize your product, and also a chance to meet with potential customers and develop your your market. So who can apply, right? So same thing like CalSeed, because this is a California funded program. So California companies or entrepreneurs, right? You need to be based in your operation need to be based in California, and then the technology readiness is a little bit higher than CalSeed. Now it's like level 5 to 7. And then, the technology needs to have certain innovation, of course. Right? It could be hardware, software, it could be integrated solution, or maybe, but again, the standalone software is not eligible. And also need to align with the Energy Commission's electric program investment charge funding priorities. And then the priorities are, something like the CalSeed. It might vary a little bit year to year. So you basically need to, at a time when you apply, right? So you can look at that and see whether your innovation or your technology is actually fit the priorities. So this is the table, right? So for the TRL readiness, right? So we're talking about from 5 and up. So that means, you're ready to demonstrate a pilot in level 5, or, or industrial pilot. So basically, so it's like basically your technology already passed the prototype development stage, right? You need to, the prototype need to be, ready, right? And in terms of testing facilities, right? So all the UCs participate in the program. So Berkeley, Davis, UCLA, Santa Barbara, Santa Cruz, and then Lawrence Berkeley Lab. And the type of technology, right? Could be building technologies, energy efficiency, energy storage, grid, material base, and transportation and water technology. So again, the coverage actually is pretty wide. It's a wide range of technology can be eligible to apply for the program. So I'm going to go into just quickly what each campus is offer, because they all offer something different. But I'm not going to go into too much details because of the time constraint we have today. So for UC Berkeley, right? They specialize. So they open up the facility, the Center for the Built Environment, a facility to work with startups. So it could be, HVAC or, human interactions, or, the other building performance area. And then also Center for Information Technology Research in the interest of society. So it could be, all kinds of different sensor, temperature and flow sensor, or during the COVID time could be, air filter, that kind of thing. And also anything, wireless indoor environmental quality sensors. For UC Davis, the Western Cooling Efficiency Center is part of the program. So it's basically all kinds of basically HVAC, energy distribution, heating, cooling, or sealing, or research, or control, any kinds of control, controls, and behavioral related research. And then they also have the California Lighting Technology Center. So you have good lighting idea, or next generation of LED light technology, right? This is the center can help you to do all the testing. Green Technology Lab. It could be second life battery. So reuse battery for building energy storage, or mechanical design, electrical design, thermodynamic, that related to green technology. And UC Irvine. UC Irvine, they have the Advanced Power Energy Program. So so what they have is basically sustainable power generation and energy conversion, right? So any energy, power generation technology, like for example, like renewable fuels, energy storage, or things related to grid. They do have facility to help you to do the testing. And fuel cell research, right? So if you're working on fuel cell technology, Irvine can help you. And also combustion laboratory, right? So it could be like fuel air mixing with like gas and liquid fuel, or like other related technology. And UCLA, they focus in smart grid. So you have anything related to smart grid or EV charger, they will be able to help you. They have a PS9 microgrid system. So you have anything that need to test with the PS9 microgrid system, they all set up there, and then they'd be able to help you to do the testing. Mobile app for user participations for smart grid. I'm going to skip the slide. And so the next one is the UC Merced. UC Merced primarily they focus in solar technology, right? So so they have the and also for example, right? So solar thermal, or maybe something related to cooling, drying, or desalination, that kind of things. And UC Riverside. UC Riverside, they can do a lot of testing for EV. And also grid, sustainable integrated grid. And then also, grid, smart grid monitoring and control technology. So we go to grid testing. And then material synthesis, device fabrication and testing. And also shared electric connector and automatic vehicle testing. And also electrical motor system testing. So basically all things related to EV and grid. And also water energy. So water delivery optimization, and also if you are using SCADA, you need a SCADA system, so integrated system to test your your innovation and technology. They can provide that. UC San Diego, they have facility for, again, testing EV, energy storage, smart inverters. And UC Santa Barbara. So they have optical characterization facility. So like, for example, like, you want to test like photovoltaic device, you want to do, let's say you need a solar simulator, or you need to do some testing in like, spectroscopy, that kind of thing. They do have those facilities. to set up to help you. And UC Santa Cruz, basically agroecology and sustainable food systems. So they have, they have different, program and also facility to help you. So they have an open lab. It's a for collaborative research. So they have a casting studio, metal fabrication, woodshop, prototype lab. If you need to use that facility, they are there. And then greenhouse, right? If you need doing some research related greenhouse, testing related to greenhouses. Berkeley Lab basically have lots of capability. So they basically, in a nutshell, so Berkeley Lab itself can actually provide lots of the testing facility that offered by UC also. So because of the time, I'm not going to get into too much detail. But basically, they can cover also most of your, technology testing needs. Okay, so I think that I will stop here. I will stop here and see if anybody has any questions.
There's a question in the chat, but just in the interest of asking a question specifically about CalTest bed, I'll ask my question and then pass it to Marina. So the question is, the CalTest bed comes with funding, and also access to these testing facilities. Is that right?
Okay, so actually, yes and no. Okay, the reason why is this, but so you don't actually receive the funding. So basically, okay, so if you need to use the testing facility, and also when you need the expert advice, right? So it all tied to some, so somebody to fund that, right? So that's why it ties into one thing that you can get up to maybe $350,000 worth of contribution, but then as a entrepreneur or as a startup company, you don't actually receive the fund. It's just that the service that you receive will equivalent to whatever the amount that the kind of work that you need to do, right?
Sure. And then is that on a timed basis? So like access to these facilities are within a time frame, or is it that there's like a cost involved in each of the usage, and then that's kind of pulled out of what the 350K?
Sure. So when you put together application, right, to put together the SOW, the team, right, of that particular facility, right? So let's say you since I have the window test bed here, so let's say you have some kind of advanced window technology, you have like thin film solar whatever on the window, and then you need some testing. Then the team from the Lawrence Berkeley lab will work with you to come up with the SOW, and then from that it will work out how much funding is necessary to fit your needs, right? I mean your request, right? So then so that how it works, but you don't actually get the money. The money actually so it's like kind of like in a way almost like in-kind contribution, right?
Okay, so Marina has a question. I'm not sure, Marina, if you want to ask it yourself.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Porter, for insightful presentation. I have a question about being California company. Does it necessarily mean being incorporated in California, or in general, how do you justify the California operations?
You do need to have a physical address in California, right? So for example, right? So Yeah, you could, but then the kind of company, the business structure itself is actually, there's no requirement. It could be a LC, it could be a S corp, or could be anything. But then it needs to be California, right? But so for example, right? So there's actually there are company from Europe, right?
Mhm.
A startup from Europe, they get into CalTest bed, right? But it's just that they need to have people here, they need to the team here, right? Because like in fact, like both the CalSeed program and also CalTest bed, because if you utilize the CalTest bed, you need to use the testing facility. Of course, you need to be here, otherwise how you can use it. Now, for the CalSeed program, it used to be done in person, like especially the accelerator program. That one is a mandatory one. Now, because of COVID, it moved on. It kind of moved online. But then still the requirement is this: you need to be physically here.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We have a question from Tom. Tom, are you there? Free to ask. I can also ask for you.
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so I was just wondering if you could restate the facilities most focused on the grid.
Oh, I think San Diego. I think okay. Actually, I don't remember. So there's more than one school. I think that San Diego is one. I think perhaps I can if you leave me the email address or something, I can send you the information.
Also,
That would be very appreciated.
Yeah, sure.
Porter, if you're comfortable to share your deck with me, I do a wrap-up email after the presentation where everyone gets the video. I mean, and they can
Sure. Yeah,
fast forward to that, to whatever they're looking for, but it's also just easier for them to have the deck.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Thank you. A quick piece of that question. As far as inspecting power lines to fight forest fires that may come from power lines, are there any facilities or groups most focused on that?
I think there's group that, okay, so I don't think that's specifically for fire prevention or for fire prediction or firefighting. I don't think so. But then in terms of testing the grid, right? So or using like I actually like there's there are companies, the multiple companies that actually they using sensor they mounted on, let's say transmission line, right? All those poles, right? So they kind of detect the grid activities, and therefore so they can do some sort of like fire prevention or predict that kind of thing, but not like actually testing firefighting.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
all right, we have one last question from Jacqueline. Jacqueline, are you there?
I'm here. But you can go ahead and ask it.
Oh, okay. She was wondering whether there are other labs perhaps associated with Cal State schools that are involved.
No, Cal State is actually not a part of the program. It's only UCs.
Do you know of any programs that are associated with the Cal State schools, just offhand?
I don't think so. I think in terms of like entrepreneurship, I know that San Jose State is quite active. Also Cal State, St. Louis Obispo, but then it's not a coherent like effort, right? It's just they kind of like doing their own thing. Yeah.
Right. It's not like a really great program. Yeah. CalTest Fed where it managed to get all of together under one roof.
Yeah, I highly encourage, right? Anyone, if they are in the Cleantech area, they really need to seriously look at, CalSeed and CalTest bed, because like just saying, right, where you can get up to $1 million non-diluted funding within a year, right? think about that. Think about that, right? Even you want to go out to talk to VC, talk to an angel investor or you know, seed investor, right? You spend a year, you may not be able to get it, right?
Plus, it's a huge stamp of validation so that when you do go out fundraising, you know, you have this behind your back.
Absolutely.
Actually validates you.
So I'll tell you, right? So the company that I advise, right, for the solar company, right? So because it's a runner-up of the program, the reason why they are runner-up is not the CalSeed, but because, okay, so Cleantech Opens, right, runs the accelerator, right? So they have their own pitch competition. So the CalSeed program actually joined the program with the company from Cleantech Open. So the company called Leap PV is, you know, also runner-up of the Cleantech Open pitch competition. So because of that, they get a lot of publicity. So they make lots and lots of VC contacts.
Yeah.
It's you know, very valuable. Yeah.
Are there any more questions from the group for Porter about these two programs, or honestly anything else just based off of his illustrious experience?
And of course, you guys can reach out to me anytime too. So
yeah, I will once again, you know, send a wrap-up email to all participants. It'll have the video, the chat, in case you did meet somebody in the chat and you want to remember that. And thank you, Porter, for sharing your deck. It'll also have and then I do want to remind all of you, the last event we have this year is this legal clinic. And, you know, usually the legal clinics we do at the garage are closed specifically for teams that are incubating with us. But every once in a while, we will have a free one that we open to the general public. And Dustin, he's a really, really great resource to the garage. You know, specifically, this is going to be on employee and independent contractor IP assignments, but the nature of his actual position at his firm is that he's an IP lawyer. And so I know that that really matters a lot in the early stages of your startup development. You guys can't typically afford legal support and expertise, but you really need it. And so we understand that at the garage, and we like to make sure that our teams have access to some free advice as often as possible. So please feel free to attend this event. And if you guys aren't already following us on our newsletter, I suggest you do that also. You guys can always email me at vsg@usc.edu. I'm just dropping that in the chat now. If you guys have questions about what we do at the garage. Thank you again, Porter. Do you have like
you're welcome.
Parting advice, as startup parting? I always like to ask our mentors if they have anything to say. It's a hard life out there for entrepreneurs. So any advice, I'm sure.
It's so difficult. The thing is, like, don't give up. That's all I can say, right? Yeah, if you believe in what you're doing, yeah, just keep grind, and then one day magic will happen.
All right. Well, all of you guys, I hope you have a nice holiday season. In case I don't see you next week, Wednesday, Porter, I am looking forward to seeing you in February for another VC.
Sure.
And hopefully we can do another Oceanside chat.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.